There was a time last year, early in the season, where I really thought that Temple had improved. I remember it distinctly as we previewed all the games around the country on my daily TikTok show, and they were playing Oklahoma in week 3. And I don't remember what the spread was on the game or exactly what the numbers were. But I really thought Temple would stick around for a half, be within a score or two going into halftime. They got blown out 42-3. The next week they lost in Atlanta to Georgia Tech by 21. 2 weeks later they lost to Navy by 1. And that was kind of the story of this Temple season. I mean, they lost to Army by 1. They lost to Navy by 1. And then the better teams on their schedule, out of conference and even in conference with Tulane and North Texas, just really, beat them pretty badly, pretty soundly, which showed how far they still need to go. Keeler entering year 2 and this coaching staff, they've got a lot of work to do. But we knew that. I mean, this is a team that hasn't had a winning season since 2019. So expecting him to do that in year 1 would have been crazy. But they did get better, and let's see what they can do in year 2. Today, we're talking about Temple here on the You Think You Know Sports podcast. Obviously, you found this podcast today, but you can find it anywhere that you can find podcasts, basically. Apple Music, Amazon Music. You can find it on Spotify and YouTube. I'd be happy to add other places if there's somewhere you want to listen to podcasts. This really started because of a TikTok page with over 10,000 followers where I do deep dive analysis into college football, college basketball, and the NFL. And we also are on all the other social medias now. So just now getting started there. You can also find a ton more analysis on youthinkyouKnowSports.com, spelled with a U, the letter U, not Y-O-U, youthinkyouKnowSports.com. Same name as this podcast. So let's get back into the Owls a little bit. First off, to be good, you got to have a good quarterback, right? So they are trying to figure out if it's going to be Jaxon Smollk from Penn State or Ajani Sheppard from Washington State, who also played at Rutgers. And I really think, first off, I think I butchered Ajani's name. I think I got it correct. I tried to get the pronunciation correct for everybody before I hop on here. Smollk sat on the bench for 3 years, basically at Penn State. Has never thrown a collegiate pass in 2 appearances. Sheppard has thrown 2 passes in 3 career games. Both of those were at Rutgers. So we got to figure out who this quarterback is going to be. It feels like the Penn State transfer has got a little bit of an edge from everything I've read, but he's certainly being pushed by Ajani. So we'll see what happens there. But listen, no matter who the quarterback is, they've got some weapons. And what I mean by that is, first off, tight end Peter Clarke, maybe the best tight end in the American. And he is back. He had 30 catches, 6 touchdowns last year, his 9 career touchdowns. I have seen him listed in all the various magazines, which I have all of them. I believe that almost everybody has got him first team all AAC as their starting tight end. The other thing you got to love is they've got 4 offensive linemen back. So the continuity on the offensive line is a big deal for a new quarterback. And between Maines, Pruitt, King, and Hills, they have got 4 guys back who have been in the trenches together in big games in the American. So I think that's big for this Temple team. They've got to get better. I mean, listen, 25 points per game last year. I mean, it could be worse. They could be Rice, right? Who averaged 17. Just did a Rice podcast earlier today. 325 yards per game. That's number 110. So they really outscored what their yards per game production was. Thought that was interesting. Almost no turnovers. They were second in the nation in the fewest turnover or interception throw percentage. Turnover margin was plus 0.9. And they only had 4.9 penalties per game. Those are usually the marks of a well-coached team. And that's why they went 5-7, 3-5 in the American. But you also usually expect those things to flip the other way, right? If you're in the top 10 in turnover margin and in the top 30 in penalties per game, sometimes you wonder if you're going to be able to replicate that year over year. Sometimes that oblong-shaped football bounces weird ways. There are also two wide receivers back. JoJo Bermudez and Colin Chase are back on this offense. They combined for 78 catches and 8 touchdowns last year. It looks like Sam Brown may end up being the running back, 205 carries in 4 years at Rutgers. So there are some things to like on this offense. I mean, 7 starters back overall. You got, two Power 4 transfers at quarterback. I think that's a good problem to have is maybe 2 guys that didn't figure it out in their first stops, but 2 Power 4 programs thought that they had elite talent to bring them in. And then you bring in a guy from Rutgers, right? I mean, I think that, when it comes to building at this level, doing it this way, Keeler is certainly putting together what looks like a good offense. Defense, they only have 2 starters back. Curly Ordonez was an All-American honorable mention. And then Avery Powell is a defensive back who is also back this year. Temple allowed 197 yards per game on the ground last year, and they had just 16 sacks, So they have got to cause more, problems, more havoc on defense for opposing offenses. They have got Caleb Artis coming in. He played 24 games in 23 and 24 with Penn State. He's now coming over. They've got a couple guys from the FCS level who are also coming in. They've got Daviar Bishop, who is coming in from East Mississippi Community College, right? That's a big change. But Ordonez is definitely going to be the main guy here. 66 tackles last year. And it'll be interesting to see what that looks like. Eric Stewart with 44 stops last year, too. So we'll see if this Temple defense can be good enough. Like I said earlier, they gave up 42 to Oklahoma, 45 to Georgia Tech, 32 to Navy. They gave up 37 to Tulsa, 45 to East Carolina, 37 to Tulane, and 52 to North Texas. So this feels like a team that most are going to pick toward the middle of the conference. So I'm excited to see if they could get, further up in the American. I think that with the offense that they have back, especially if they find the quarterback to run the offense that they're looking for here, they certainly could be a surprise team. I mean, there are very few teams in the American that have this much coming back on offense. So maybe, just maybe, the Owls could pull off a surprise or two. That brings us to the schedule. The first 2 are at home. 3 of the first 4 are at home. They play Rhode Island to begin the season. They play Penn State September 12th, and that is a opportunity to get a Power 4 school at their place. At Toledo September 19th, they go and host Army on September 25th, 6 days later. At South Florida October 3rd, back-to-back home games against UConn and Charlotte. Then they go on the road on Halloween at East Carolina and at Navy. Then they host UAB and Rice 5 days apart, November 14th and 19th. And then at Memphis, Thanksgiving week, November 28th, to end the season. So your road games, you got Toledo, South Florida, East Carolina, Navy, and Memphis. But you get Penn State and Army at your place. I think that the schedule could be worse. You're not going to State College. They're coming to you. So I'm excited to see what Temple's going to look like this year and what feels like a more open American with some of the teams having to replace star quarterbacks. So, guys, if you follow me, I hope that you'll comment wherever you follow me at, wherever you might hear this at. Go find me on social media. Let me know what you think about Temple this year. Let me know if you think they might surprise. Hope you'll go follow me wherever you find that content at, and I hope that you'll subscribe to this podcast so that you don't miss any future episodes. I appreciate you listening, and we'll be back in the American to talk about Tulane. Had to look at my notebook. At Tulane for the next episode. So check it out, guys. See you then.